Texas throttles Kansas in a ranked-on-ranked matchup. Now, it doesn't help the fact that Jalen Daniels injures back during warm-ups. But how nice is it that you lose Bijan Robinson? I was about to say Bijan Mustardson because I talk about his mustard all the time. Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, and you have Jonathan Brooks to tote the rock for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I mean, what a luxury they have in Austin.
Yeah, and that whole running back room is capable. Like whether it's Jonathan Brooks, whether it's the talented freshman C.J. Baxter, they run 3 deep in terms of players who, if they showed up on another roster somewhere, would be competing for the starter spot. Jonathan Brooks being able to emerge with a big performance here is great. Kansas's defense, though, very leaky. And so I'm actually a little bit more concerned about Jartavian Sanders. Left this game with an injury, got a little bit banged up. I'm going to be monitoring that as he was the leading receiver going into this game. And the fact that we don't have Jalen Daniels is a little bit disappointing because, you know, I really thought that Texas's defense was going to get tested differently. But Jonathan Brooks being able to be a star in these big moments against some of the better Big 12 competition is what's going to power Texas's Big 12 championship path. So I think that I come out of this Kansas game encouraged at the offensive depth because when a player like Sanders goes down, a player like Brooks is ready to go.
All right, so you look ahead as we did with Georgia, and you got the Red River rivalry coming up next week against Oklahoma, also undefeated. Neutral site, as always. What threat does Oklahoma give Texas? Because it feels like, yeah, we've said that Texas is back. They got to beat Oklahoma, and then I think they got to beat USC for us to really give a stamp of approval.
So I think that we are looking at Texas, and there's a lot for them to prove still. You know, the Alabama team that they played, that was a game where they were able to hit enough explosive plays, come up with enough big stops that they were able to come out with this win. But Quinn Ewers being able to get it done with his legs, it still seems like it is fits and starts, explosive plays here, explosive plays there. I would say the down-to-down consistency, it still isn't there for me in terms of being a top 5 team. And look, Hakeem, I get criticized for this a lot, but if you have a number 3 beside your name, then I hold you to the standard of competing for a national championship. I look for a consistency there, and I think that Texas still has so much more room to improve. I believe that Texas can get there because I had Texas higher than anybody else in the preseason rankings. I've always believed in this roster and what it can accomplish in terms of the best season that we've seen in Austin since 2009. But I don't know if I saw that even against Kansas here. They were the beneficiary of some good bounces. And, of course, Jalen Daniels not being in this game. I'm excited about that Oklahoma game for that reason because I think that Oklahoma is going to test this Texas defense in a way that it has not been tested all season. And the Sooners also have beefed up on the defensive side, something that Brent Venables, of course, is very proud about and has been invested in since they were so woeful a year ago. So, you know, Quinn Ewers, Jonathan Brooks, explosive plays here, explosive plays there. Texas has enough high-end talent that they can do it. But if it doesn't start happening consistently, then they're going to be liable to get tripped up along the way home.
Yeah, I misspoke there. I said they have USC on the schedule. Was not that was a mistake on my part there. They do not play USC. Maybe in the college football playoff. Maybe that's forward thinking that they would play USC perhaps in the college football playoff. They could run the table, though, here, Chip. I mean, you look at their schedule rest of way, there's not a whole lot of resistance.
No, it is a spot where it is all set up for Texas to be able to make the college football playoff. And that's why you hear me nitpicking a little bit in a way that might make a Texas fan frustrated. But just understand that that's because the standard I'm holding Texas to is one that is higher that we have. I don't want to just be happy that Texas is back in the graces of being in contention. Now let's really start to look at them under a microscope and go through this and figure out how they stack up against the other best teams in the country. So I think Texas, with a win against Oklahoma, an emphatic one especially, would go a long way for confidence outside the program, but also confidence inside the program. I mean, Hakeem, let's remember, Steve Sarkisian still in search of his first double-digit win season. So everyone on the field and on the sideline is kind of entering into new territory here with this Texas program.
Well, on this day, an absolute blowout of the Jayhawks. Total yards, 661 to 260. I mean, just outgaining them by more than 400 yards in this game. And again, it doesn't help that they didn't have Daniels in the lineup, injured his back or re-aggravated it during warm-ups. And Jason Bean had to step in, just not enough against this absolute monster that Texas has become with Quinn Ewers and their running game and Xavier Worthy. Really good ball club. And look, you're right, they could run the table, but we'll see what happens next week against Oklahoma. Chip Patterson here on CBS Sports HQ with a Chip. Thanks. As we mentioned, here's a look at Texas's next 5 games. Oklahoma, then at Houston, BYU, Kansas State, and then TCU. And there's no question that if Texas runs the table, they are right there for a chance to get to the college football playoff and really make their mark and really cement the fact that they're back. This team is really, really good with Quinn Ewers, really good running game. It's just like plug and play, right? Bijan Robinson, all right, Jonathan Brooks. Well, right now, they're off to a 5-0 start.